Hello everyone and welcome back to more Witch on the Holy Night. Today we are going to be doing, we are going to be looking into the archive and seeing if there's anything new here that we can look at. One of the things is Whiteboard, which seems to be something different, because this is all Chapter 8, as you can see, and then there's something new here. So I guess that might be an EX chapter or an extra chapter for Chapter 8. And then we have something called the Carnegie case. So I think for this video, we will just be doing the Whiteboard chapter, because that seems like it'll probably be just like the Martha chapter from Chapter 7. It'll be kind of like an extra chapter, and it shouldn't be too long. Judging by what we're seeing here, it seems like it might focus on Kumari Kajika, who is kind of a character that shows up every now and again. Yeah, so it might just be another slice of life sort of chapter, which I don't mind. I find them interesting, but it seems like the other chapter we were looking at might be getting, hopefully, I'm crossing my fingers, might be getting into the, more into the plot of, Mahou Soko na Yoru, which on the Holy Night. But anyways, let's do this for this video, the Whiteboard chapter. Undocumented plans, shelve the process and results. Toki Ulik? Okay. Excuse me, this is Kumari from Class 2D. I returned the gym's storage key to the faculty office. When Kumari Kajika entered the second student council room, Aozaki Aoko was the only person she found. Thanks. I'm almost done with my work, so sit down over there while I finish. Aoko sat at the long table, moving her ballpoint pen in a steady rhythm while surrounded by countless books. There were not school notebooks, but neatly written notepads. Aozaki, what are you doing? Homework? Extra lessons? Either way, you seem rather dedicated, even though winter break just started. Sure, you do have to be here for the special cleaning, but still. Oh, this is something else. It's transcription work an acquaintance at the university entrusted me with. They want to complete their thesis by simply copying a paper that was submitted years ago. So it's nothing but a copy. That seems like a lot of work. What university are they from? Don't tell me it's Mizora. Unable to hide her displeasure, Kumari flipped through the pages of the report beside Aoko. The somewhat yellowed pages of the document indicated it was at least 10 years old. That's exactly it. What other university students would I know? Don't worry, this isn't a request from one of your brothers. Besides, Kuma, your platoon of brothers wanted to repeat this year, didn't they? I guess they had to translate Kuma. Yeah, Kuma is bear. In Japanese, Kuma means bear. Don't call me Kuma, and don't call them a platoon. Kumari's voice was harsh. An equally grouchy person like Aoko couldn't say this out loud, but she found the two of them to be equally unsociable. Kumari's tone, abrupt by nature, became violent when she laid her true feelings bare. She had apparently inherited this compulsion from her father. Even if she tried her hardest, it was not easy to abandon a habit that traced its way back to elementary school. Still, do you think that'll be enough? Sure, you're copying it in its entirety, but isn't this a bit too old to be accepted? Well, regardless of age, quality is quality. Besides, he also told me, I removed everything that was technically outdated, so copy the text and only change the numbers. What's with that? Is he stupid or what? If he understands the subject that well, he could have taken care of it himself, so how long do you have to be working on this? I started this morning. The pay for half a day isn't too bad. Each notepad earns me 10,000 yen. Gah, a student council president with a secret job. No wonder you appointed Tsukiji to watch over the other students. Yes, please don't tell anyone about this. Taken aback by that eloquent smile, Kumari sat down in a folding chair with a drained expression. The only sound in the room was Aoko's pen. She looked up at the distant blue sky, while young men clad in jerseys played baseball on the field. The special cleaning was over, and so they had gradually started playing. They're pretty brave, playing in this cold. They're the second-year guys. It seemed that they did not manage to gather many people, so they were playing with teams of 5. The game was nothing but strikeout after strikeout, but the poor batters all looked very excited. They cursed loudly at each other, sharing hearty laughs all the while. Truly, these boys were idiots. I'm sure that's what she thinks of everybody. Well, I understand Hosuke and Shizuki being on the same team, but Tsukichi's with them too. Do they get along, Aozaki? Huh? Why would that guy be on another class's team? Well, they're done cleaning the back of the school, so I have no reason to complain. So I guess this must have taken place, like, right after they were cleaning, doing the school cleanup at the beginning of Chapter 8. He threw the ball. Tsukiji can really pitch. Fundamentally, Tobimaro can do just about anything. He himself recognizes that he cuts class too often and isn't very active, but he's capable of anything when he puts his heart into it. His only notable fault would be his lack of childishness. His lack of childishness? How is that a fault exactly, him being childish? Or him not, well, I guess him not being childish. I would think that's probably a good thing, right? I mean, I guess not. I don't get it. That's a very thorough analysis. Aozaki, is it true that you two are going out? Even if there were no other boys but him to date, I'd still rather go out with you. I don't like pretty boys anyway. In my opinion, every man should be like Schwarzenegger. What?
Let off some steam, Bennett.
So her ideal man is Arnold. That's a pretty high standard to live up to. I mean, holy shit. Short? Who? The lead actor in Conan the Barbarian. I did not expect them to reference Arnold Schwarzenegger. And more importantly, did she just seriously imply that she would want to go out with Kumari? So does that mean, so is Aoko bi, or I don't know, maybe that was a joke. So they need to have a cleft chin. I knew physique was what mattered the most to you, but are burly men really what you're into? Not exactly. In my eyes, morality is what matters. Frail guys, smooth talkers, and promiscuous men. I feel like I could never trust those types. Aoko focused on the manuscript, and Kumari, staring at the field, were having an erratic conversation. The two girls had met for the first time at the start of high school, but they hit it off very quickly and were now capable of such idle talk. What are you going to do during the break, Aozaki? Do you have anything planned? I'd like to have fun outside at least once, but I felt quite busy lately. I'll try to find some free time by the start of next year, so be patient until then. What do you say we invite Yamase and the others from Class B? If I remember correctly, they went to Tokyo during last year's Christmas break, didn't they? Her lineage is different from ours. She's a prim and proper princess type, after all. If she learned about your taste, she'd look down on you. Best to stop while you can. That's a hit. It went over the fence. Now that's a home run. Not bad, Shizuki. To hit a pitch from Tsukiji, he must have excellent reflexes. He did grow up in the mountains, after all. You have to give him credit for that. Do you think he'll match Tobimaro in next year's physical exams? He apparently used to take 2-hour strolls in the mountains every day. I should have introduced him to the track club instead of the swim club. You're very well informed. Are you actually going out with him instead? Pfft, yeah, right. So the unfaltering pin stopped. Aoko got up from her seat in a very natural motion, prepared tea as if to show she was taking a break. So I guess that comment might have gotten to her, and went back to work as if nothing had happened. Kumari, did you have any suggestions for what we could do during the break? Not really. The list of movies I want to see keeps on growing, and none of them are scheduled to play here. What about you? I think I'll just buy winter clothes and a CD, David Bowie's latest one. More importantly, a CD player. Prices for those should drop to 30,000 yen soon. And they reference David Bowie. I mean, it is the 80s, so I mean, obviously we're going to get some 80s pop culture references. You really do like anything that's new. I'm telling you, CDs are too expensive. We'll start hearing about them soon enough. Well, you might be right. You're kind of right about that. Well, maybe not anytime soon. Well, in the 90s, yeah. The 90s is when that's gonna, you know, when the internet comes along and downloadable music becomes a thing. If you rent music and record it on a tape, you're getting away with only 500 yen spent. CDs will go out of fashion in no time, just like Betamax. Well, they won't entirely be phased out. Like, Betamax was phased out completely. CDs, on the other hand, like, they're still around. It's, like, people still buy CDs, even with the internet, you know, and being able to easily download music, you know, digital downloads of music and all that. Do you think so? I firmly believe CDs will be the standard in the near future. Cassette tapes will be the ones left in the past for sure. She's actually right about that. That will never ever happen. I can bet on it. You can't even record any audio with CDs, right? Cassette tapes will always have that advantage. Kuma, you really are the conservative type, even though everything is ultimately subject to change. Alright, I'm taking this bet. I'll write this down in the student council's record. 10 years. No, I'll give it 5 years. Let's look forward to this. 5 years, huh? That's right at the end of university. Aozaki, you're aiming for a university in Tokyo, right? Tell me, which one do you want to go to? I haven't decided yet, actually. Though I would really like to go to Tokyo. That's unexpected. Knowing you, I thought you'd already have a schedule for the next 3 years carefully thought out. Aoko laughed forcibly, trying to pull the wool over her friend's eyes. Even though the course of her life was largely predetermined, she had not given much thought to her future prospects. It was also because she wasn't accustomed to setting her plans in stone. Her temperament demanded that she finish whatever come to mind on the spur of the moment. You know, it's funny because Kumari is going to lose the bet that they just made. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because cassette tapes, I think, are pretty much completely phased out. I think they're still used in some capacity. I don't know, but for the most part, they're phased out almost completely. They're not used for music, for sure. At least as far as... Yeah, they're not used for music. Kuma, once I'm done with this, come to the ramen restaurant in front of the train station with me. Using this much energy left me hungry. It would have been more ladylike to say you wanted to eat sweets after using your head so much. Alright, I'll give you a discount if you come to my place. How about it? Of course, nothing's more important than female camaraderie. In the student council room preparing for the upcoming winter break festivities, the two girls spent the rest of their time at the school with a trifling conversation. Aoko was a magus at night, but during the day she behaved like a completely normal student. When she was talking to a friend, she didn't even try to hide any innocence befitting her age. Even if the struggle with the enemy intensified, as she had decided to lead a double life, it was in her nature to try to derive pleasure from both of them. By the way, Aozaki, about our bet earlier, what do you suggest we put at stake? Well, I'm no hurtless monster. I'll settle for only 10% of our savings once the bet expires. I'll try not to suck your wallet completely dry. Yeah, don't believe her. Don't believe her lies. Write down a note. Don't believe her lies. Most of all, greed remained at the base of her personality. Yep, that is very true. Oh, back to Sojiro. I felt shivers run down my spine just now. Victim A quietly muttered after a light sneeze. I felt a disturbance in the force. Aoko was talking about me and it didn't feel good. What? Did you catch a cold, Shizuki? Looks like we can't play baseball in a place like this. Let's go to town instead. 5-player baseball, 4th game. An hour had passed since the creation of several specific rules. It was decided that infield hits, if fielded cleanly, were counted as outs. Additionally, the first batter to hit a home run would be rewarded with the remaining canned shiruku. The onlookers gathered and a mini-championship started. Kinomi Hosuke, on the verge of going numb waiting for their game to start, was getting seriously bored. Well, you're one hell of a clown. You were the one who suggested we play baseball because no one wanted to leave before the others. Yeah, but this time it's something else. Because, well, the guys from Class A are here, and I don't really like them. We just don't get along. Don't worry, they're not really fond of you either. Well, this is a good opportunity. If you can't stand them, you can settle the score with them in this game. I'll get serious too. While chastising Kinomi, Tobimaro headed toward a wall with the ball in his hand. He was more demanding than usual, most likely due to the home run he let slip earlier. Incidentally, he was also from Class A and was even the captain of their team. Wait a minute, Your Highness, this is a misunderstanding. We do like Kinomi. His stupidity, for example, or when he shamelessly ranks the girls at school, or when he arranges group meetings. Really, we can't compete with him. That's right, bellowed every Class A boy, bowing in assertion. Don't fuck with me. You guys always get away with the better part of the spoil. Organize a karaoke party. I want to have fun with the girls. What a bunch of brats. Why do I have to organize everything alone? We all went together to spy on the tennis club, so why was I the only person treated like a criminal? Perhaps now is the time I should notice you've always been using me. So you guys were peeking in at the girls, huh? And I guess they were either watching the girls play tennis or watching them in the changing room. I'm not really sure. Probably both. I'm gonna go with both. Unbelievable. He never realized. He's a real moron. I'm sorry, but thanks to you, I even found myself a girlfriend. Her catchphrase is, "At least you're better than Kinomi." God, you guys are really pissing me off. Don't tell me about your useless student lives. Kinomi swirled his bat around and chased after the boys from Class A, who were joyfully thanking him while also remaining at a safe distance. Thankfully, one of Kinomi Hosuke's main qualities allowed him to stay on good terms with his classmates even after such mockery. Konomi's pretty popular. Yeah, his stupidity is one of his most valuable assets. If he had the slightest bit of intellect, he could very well become a delinquent. But before that could ever happen, Aozaki would take care of him, and for good this time. She's merciless when it comes to petty brats who think they're smart. Really? This time? Sojiro was deep in thought. That turn of phrase just then seemed to be implying that Konomi had a criminal record with Aozaki Aoko. Has Konomi ever become attached to Aozaki before? Huh? Attached? You're asking if he fell in love with her? Like that idiot could have such good taste. There was just an unfortunate incident between him and Aozaki. It happened during the school's entrance ceremony. Am I right, Konomi? Konomi stopped in his tracks and turned his head in the direction of Tobimaru's yell. Yeah, that entrance ceremony. I saw a sexy girl, so I instinctively extended my hand. I asked her, hey, what class are you in? But I could never have guessed my hand would reach that far. To tell you the truth, I thought I'd stop an inch short, but some factors in my calculations were wrong somehow, and well, Aozaki's measurements were slightly bigger than what I had estimated. Oh no. Oh no. Muttered Konomi Hosuke, gazing distantly into the sky. Nevertheless, his explanations allowed Sojiro to clearly understand what happened during the entrance ceremony. Well, at least Sojiro's not that dumb. Impossible. Konomi, how are you still alive? At least he grasps what would have happened to him if he actually, since he did that. You're wondering too? I felt my head banging my back, That wasn't just a slap or a punch. It came from below. From what the witnesses could tell, Aozaki's shoe flew up like a deeply submerged swimboard, rocketing to the surface at blinding speed. So basically, she kicked him into the air. And I have no recollection of what happened after that moment, by the way. Yeah, she knocked you out cold. Konomi got tired of chasing the boys from Class A and came back, rubbing his chin. Let's go have some fun instead of talking about this, Your Highness. You have money on you, right? Come on, treat us to something. Oh well, if you want to go watch a movie, I could consider. There's actually one I want to see. It's a very sappy movie. One that's so bad it's good. It gets funnier when you're done watching it. I need a victim to go with me, so for this occasion, you'll be good enough. I don't want to. Movies are annoying. A grown man can't sit his butt 2 hours straight in the same spot, It'd be more fun going to an arcade or eating cheap candies in the convenience store parking lot. How would that be different from what we're doing now? That's not the point. I'm telling you, yapping outside is fun. Or maybe we could start a band. British rock is trendy these days. One of my coworkers told me anyone could play punk rock music. Oh yeah? Let's just hope it doesn't become the trend. Well, it kinda does. In the backyard during Christmas break, Konomi and Tobimaru spent their leisure time after work talking about mundane things. Sounds like what, Aoko and Kumari are doing, except they're having their girl talk. Let's go pick up some girls then. We can do that at the train station. If His Highness is coming, we could also grab the attention of older women. MILF. And hey, if we don't have any money, we can just ask all the sweet chicks we'll be picking up to pay for us, yeah? Acting like a boy toy at your age, huh? Your future is so clearly drawn, it's giving me a headache. At least when it comes to my future, I know what I want. Come on, tell him too, Shizuki. Let's go pick up some girls and party. All His Highness will have to do is be there, and you have the little brother appeal that older girls love. If all goes well, it could become like the last time for me. After an hour, the winter adventure. Konomi waved his arms in an undulating motion like indomitable tentacles. The afterimages of his glorious past had visibly taken over his brain. All of this aside. Konomi, what did you say back then? Huh? You mean the one sentence that made everything work out for me? Hey, Missy, you're looking real pretty. I'm the son of the building's landlord. Do you want to have some fun with me? But, well, she ran away when she found out I was lying. No, not that. What you said during the entrance ceremony. Oh, that. I took a glance at Aozaki's bosom and said, damn, where'd you get that rack? Man, he really didn't know what he was in for, did he? Or something like that. Konomi Hosuke, noted moron, continued to scratch away his own intelligence. Or rather, scratched his head. Konomi was particularly jovial after his nostalgia trip. As far as Sojiro, he was plunged into a deep silence, grimacing as if he ate something bitter. What is it, Shizuki? Are you not interested in picking up women after all? Of course he isn't. Don't taint him with your ideals, you walking libido. I forgot that I kind of gave that guy sort of like a, pretentious sounding voice, or, like a snobbish voice. I think that's what the kind of voice I gave him when I first started the playthrough. Yes, I am interested. Cute girls catch my eye, and sometimes I don't know what to set my eyes on when they wear light clothes. It's during times like these that I really feel like a man. I'm just as shocked. What? Those words hit like a bolt from out of the blue. The shock was comparable to one's reaction upon discovering Philip Marlowe hidden in a cute teddy bear plush that had been brightening up a child's room. I do not understand that reference at all. What the Really? Sorry, I underestimated you. So, we can say you're one of us, right? One of you? That's right. For example, you probably feel something when you see sweat dripping from a girl's neck in summer, or the bare shoulders of a girl from the tennis club, or the figure of the back of a swim club chick in a swimsuit. So that's what they were looking at when they were spying on the tennis club. That is kind of weird, dude. I won't lie. I see where you're coming from. It's still fucking weird. Sojiro blinked his eyes in surprise. He did not really understand what Konomi was getting at. So he can say that much, but he can't understand stuff like that. I mean, the girls our age might usually seem childish, but you get excited when they do something that leaves them vulnerable, don't you? I'm not sure if I would want to take advantage when someone's helpless like that. Sojiro harshly frowned, perhaps out of consideration for a certain helpless person, or out of spite for getting distracted by her. It's all good. I'm telling you, it's perfect. A high school student's makeup is 60% sexual desire. So now that it's decided, let's get flirting immediately. The catch will depend on the faces we put on here. In a surprisingly good mood, Konomi grasped Sojiro's shoulder and started bringing him to the train station. Hold up, everything went down so quickly that I didn't have time to tell you, but you're absolutely mistaken. Sojiro, first of all, do you know what the word nanpa means? I guess flirt in Japanese. Nanpa. A moderate party. Politician's definition. Specializing in erotic literature. Edo period's definition. Being in charge of relationship gossip on the society page. Journalist definition. A person with weak wavering opinions. Literal definition. 5. To seduce a woman. So there's 5 different definitions of this. The second one? Incorrect. It was a word that would one day become archaic, but for high school students of the 80s, nanpa matched the 5th definition 8 out of 10 times. See? He doesn't have the same interest in the subject as you do. If you want to go scoop up women, then do so on your own. Also, don't do it at Misaki Station. We have a reputation to uphold. Go to the neighboring town. Tobimaro shooed the pest away with a wave of his hand. Konomi clicked his tongue and let go of Sojiro's shoulder. Shit, that's not any fun. Fine, I'll go play baseball like a good boy. Besides, it looks like we'll be up soon, no? Konomi walked to the mound, wailing. Sojiro watched him go, pained as if he were parting ways with an old friend. Hey, don't tell me you're seriously wanting to go flirt with women. Huh? No, I don't really understand what flirting is, but I had something to take care of in town. There's something I'd like to find. Oh, Jesus. The Sojiro is so naive it hurts. Ah, I know. Tobimaro, that white thing in the student council room. Do you know where I could buy one? Sojiro spread his hands to the fullest and made a weird gesture. Oh, he must be talking about the whiteboard, hence the name of the chapter. 1 hour later, at the supermarket in front of the station. Even after he knew what Sojiro wanted, Tobimaro remained perplexed. But why would you want that thing? Why does he want a whiteboard? Maybe it was because the dinner that Alice prepared was so wonderful. But this evening, the 3 residents of the Koonji mansion were immersed in a serene atmosphere. 7 times? You had meals 7 times per day in your family? How is that even possible? Sitting on the 3rd sofa, a keepsake retrieved and brought back after a lot of effort in the residence basement, Sojiro addressed Alice in the conservatory. It's not like we had proper meals each time. We simply think that having tea 7 times a day is ideal. Oh, she's talking about her time in England. Jolly old England. The early morning tea upon waking up, the breakfast tea during the morning snack, the tea at the 11sis in the morning, the noon tea break taken early in the afternoon tea in the afternoon in high society, the high tea in society evenings, and the post-dinner after tea. Holy shit. Among these, only high tea is taken during a meal. In the countryside, anyway. Alice savored her tea by herself in the conservatory. She enjoyed a royal blend tea. It was a genuine delight, an assortment of Darjeeling, Ceylon, and Assam tea leaves. The tea cake was completely topped with sugar-coated strawberries. She was isolated exquisitely within her own world. In short, you drink tea all day long? Correct. If we could spend all our time doing so, it would be perfect. Sojiro's silly barb had no effect. Alice grasped a strawberry with the tips of her fingers and carried it to her tongue, as if to kiss it. Now I completely understand what the guys were talking about earlier. Sojiro shook his head when he realized he was staring at her contented expression, as if captivated. The discussion from earlier today must still be haunting him, because he had grown a bit too sensitive about the femininity his two housemates were showing. But you're making it sound like you don't really have tea 7 times per day. I only have time for 3 times at most. As my partner lacks experience, I'm never out of things to do. Your partner? Sojiro turned his gaze right across from him. At the end of his gaze. What? It's good enough that you can have tea 3 times a day, isn't it? The student council doesn't make a fuss when we're having tea. We boil water in a pan and pour it inside a teapot. Then we leave it to steep and all that stuff, so it's ready for the 3 o'clock snack and after dinner. You're giving these tea ceremonies too much importance. I like luxury, but I refuse to get accustomed to it. Though she was lecturing Alice, Aoko remained in a good mood nonetheless. You two are the ones living in luxury. Tap water in Japan is delicious. Why aren't you aware of the value of this treasure trove? Because we don't usually have a tea party 7 times per day, do we? Watch it, Sojiro. If you buy and use bottled water to prepare a good black tea, Alice will give you an hour-long lecture. She'll say you have neither the appropriate knowledge nor the right mind for this. If preparing tea using delicious water, it will also be delicious. That was what Aozaki had in mind when she bought mineral water during her first days in the Koonji residence. She was fully confident about this, but it ended up sparking her first human argument with her roommate. After calling each other names for a while over a non-Magecraft subject, they had ended up totally exhausted. Miss Aozaki, have you enough strength left to prepare dinner? I'll pass. It goes against my principles, but let's order takeout. And so, for the first time, they had the experience of ordering from a sober restaurant by phone. Since then, their depravity had only increased. Well, I got frustrated after that, so I did tons of research regarding tea, and after asking Alice for details and arguing with her countless times on the subject, I ended up joining the tea lovers group in no time. Though under the influence of my sister, I was more of a coffee person until middle school. Oh, that's probably like the first time she actually referenced her sister. On that point, I am grateful to her. If Aoko hadn't let me out, I would never have come across the ancient Copeland cup. Aha! Because of that, we wound up endlessly walking around the antique shops last year. Even though they were in separate rooms, one in the living room and the other in the conservatory, the two girls chatted merrily. Since they got along so well, they may as well talk to each other face to face in the living room, Sojiro thought, puzzled. He could not yet know that it was precisely this distance between the two that allowed them to plunge back into nostalgia. So it wasn't like Alice to go out. That's right, what a girl she was, a real shut-in. She only left the house to go to school. Today was the same, wasn't it? Alice, you stayed in the mansion all day, right? You're mistaken. I simply don't have any business outside. Besides, I was busy replenishing my ploys today. Oh, I see. When you say replenish my ploys, are you saying the creatures such as the ones we saw at the amusement park are born here? Yeah, don't tell him anything. Why does Aoko have the troll face? What did he say? Did he say something wrong? Since his awful experience at the amusement park, Sojiro grew nervous upon hearing the word ploy. That day, he only ran away from them. However, since then, as time went on, what were those weird things? This question was acutely bothering him. What, do you really want to know, Sojiro? If you're willing to tell me about them, then I'd like to know, but no, on second thought, it's better if I don't ask. But I want to know, after all. Alright, let's talk about it for a bit then. A quick overview of this subject won't incite your wrath, will it, Alice? Aoko crossed her legs energetically. Not really. If you talk about what makes you and I different, I won't mind. Then it's decided. Well, why the long face? You're the one who asked. Have you changed your mind? No, that's not it. Stared at by Aoko, Sojiro subconsciously averted his gaze. Currently, his only contact with Aoko was after meals, so there have not been any close calls, but occasionally she made this sort of vulnerable gesture, and he had a hard time responding. I think his mind is too caught up in what they were talking about after they were cleaning up. It's like, yeah, you like when girls are vulnerable, right? It's alright, keep going, I'm interested. Very well, in that case, let's call the Robin. Oh no, let's not call him, don't call him. Let the special lesson all about ploy begin. Aoko snapped her fingers. It seemed that she wanted to mimic the sound of a television being turned on. A short extra chapter, explaining a certain magical system, supervised and presented by Kounji Alice, thus started. Is that what the whiteboard was used for? Let's write down everything we know, children. Unfortunately, the long-awaited special program was cancelled after about 30 minutes. Its excessively enthusiastic content left its audience Sojiro in the dust. I knew about this already, but your lamentable capacity for reflection deserves to be known worldwide. You had better die, Alice refrained from adding with a sigh. Poor Alice, I sincerely sympathize with you this time. All he has to say about our Magecraft is that it's very physical. If other Magi heard this, they would faint from humiliation. Even Aoko was genuinely astounded. That said, she had simultaneously mulled over his lack of discernment, because in retrospect, she had seen this outcome coming. Yeah, I mean, Sojiro's just that type of person. You can tell him like a really long story, and he'd be like, "Wow, that's amazing," and that he wouldn't really have too much else to say about it. Because I mean, if you remember from the Chapter 7 extra chapter, he kind of just was like, "Oh, wow, that's crazy." Or, well, I mean, he did have something to say about it, but you know, I guess they kind of expect more from him. That's not true. I can tell the difference. Aozaki only causes destruction, and Alice produces all sorts of things that she uses to cause destruction. At the very least, Alice is somewhat productive. Damn. Bro, throwing shade at Aoko, holy shit. I'm terrified, Aoko. I don't know why, but my chest hurts. I didn't think something like this could happen. It feels as if a passerby giraffe broke my favorite teacup and comforted me by saying it's better than if the deed was done by a troll. What's that supposed to mean? Upset, Aoko glared at her partner, seated in front of her. The troll was a hard-boiled but rather silly colossus appearing in fairy tales. Still, I think Sojiro's analogy fits quite well. I've never seen any of her ploys being used in any way that's convenient for our daily life. The Robin and the twins do stupid things, but that's it. It's easy to judge after the fact. We should respect the initial intention, being useful. Moreover, it's not my fault if those three fail at everything they do. The two girls were trying very hard to shift the blame on each other. Nevertheless, when they discuss their proficiency in Magecraft, there is a line they should not cross. Even if the point of this quarrel is to decide which of the two deserves the title of Unfortunate Destroyer the most. Yes, but Alice's pets are useful. I saw a pig piling up dead leaves in the forest earlier. It's one of your pets, so why don't you tell Aozaki about it? Well, Mr. Yamashiro said something about how keeping quiet about your own good deeds is a virtue, but still. I don't know how I would react if I saw something like that. Alice had sent the chattering twins into the forest with the intention of performing a simple routine skirmish, but to Sojiro, it appeared like an act of goodwill. Aoko scowled more and more as she watched as Sojiro convinced of Alice's victory. Saying her Magecraft is productive because it has done some cleaning would be passing a rushed judgment. Couldn't you broaden your perspective before trying to appraise us, you dishwasher? Broadening my perspective. Like adopting an economic perspective, for example. What? At a loss for words before his outspokenness, the two girls exchanged glances, trying to appear calm. An idiot's genius can sometimes take thinking to new heights. Amazing. Even I never thought about that. It was ambiguous because, to begin with, Magecraft only brings trouble. Alice nodded in wholehearted agreement. Then, do you have any examples? How do you think I could make money using my Magecraft? In your case, how about fishing for tuna? There was a short silence. Aoko calmly rearranged her legs. Why tuna? She asked him rather seriously. Well, I heard from the morning market that it's very expensive, and that this huge fish is also very difficult to catch. Underwater, it can go faster than a car. It's one of planet Earth's objects of pride. It's the largest carnivorous fish, after all. Even at the sushi shop, it's the strongest one. Its average speed is 60 kilometers per hour, and I heard its top speed was close to 180. According to the captain, you're a pretty good swimmer. Couldn't you catch it by swimming? We're drifting away from the topic at hand here. Assuming I managed to shoot it down with a magical bullet, I could never keep it in one piece. I'm specialized in rotational acceleration, not in its termination. How about you, Alice? I'm not too comfortable with fish, because I sometimes end up being fascinated by them, she added in a small voice. In that case, it's impossible, Aoko concluded, slumping her shoulders. By the way, are you looking for trouble, Shizuki? Sorry. In fact, I was trying to tease you a bit. The pressure from the collar stopped after 5 seconds. That sleeper hold was much too strong to be considered playful. What did he... Come on, what did he even do to offend her? Oh, you're a good swimmer. In conclusion, we can only expect violence from Aozaki. What about you, Alice? I feel like Aoko should also be offended by that, too. Since you're not saying anything, am I to conclude that the idea of making money using magic doesn't appeal to you? Well, whether I like it or not, having money is still a good thing. If we can override the association's vigilance, I wouldn't be against the idea of Aoko working hard for it. Only I would be in danger. Don't you have anything useful among your ploys? Like, for example, a hippopotamus able to turn the dirt it eats into gold. The aristocrats of the Middle Ages had appointed alchemists, constantly searching for a way to make gold, you know. Alchemists were just a waste of money. Well, they were able to discover new techniques by squandering the fortunes of those aristocrats, so it wasn't meaningless. After all, the mason is a porcelain they created out of desperation after boasting that they produce gold. Alice ran her finger along the rim of her teacup. Ultimately, we cannot trust them. Nowadays, it's said that the alchemists of Prague are magi of finance, and those in Egypt use gold to produce weapons. Yes, I had some hope, but we're not very compatible with real society anyhow. We're too specialized in mysteries. The wealthy families of London don't mix business and family prospects. They like taking disciples specialized in finance more. One rumor is that the manager of a certain industrial conglomerate sucks the blood of all of his employees, thus creating a network with perfect information sharing. He became a vampire in order to found a company that was mentally united and without any internal conflict. I wonder if she means that literally. That's an extreme scenario, but in short, without drastic measures, making money using Magecraft would be quite difficult. How about opening an amusement park with your ploys? Sojiro clapped his hands, struck by a flash of insight. Now that's a good idea. I don't want to be trapped and attacked inside of it anymore, but an amusement park would be a great success day and night. Let's open an amusement park. You want to turn my ploys into an attraction? It would be a huge success, I'm sure of it, and if you make everyone believe they're robots, no one will suspect a thing. I refuse, Aoko. If you mention the subject again, everything's over between us. We really made her angry. That's too bad, Sojiro. Let's give up on the amusement park. Besides, I'm really risking the end of our friendship with this one. After Alice's cold denial, Aoko retreated, disappointed. No matter how much they talked, they knew there was a certain limit not to exceed. Sojiro gave the duo a strange look. Can I ask a question? I noticed something very intriguing just now. What is it? Well, back at the amusement park, you seriously tried to kill each other. Yet you two are still friends? You know, now that you mention it, this offhand but perfectly natural question made both Aoko and Alice exchange a glance, after eyeing each other for about 2 seconds. Barely. Yes, barely. What, for real? Excessively simple, but stronger than steel. It was a truly amazing friendship. Was it, though? It's like, yeah, I'll talk to you, but I won't be your friend. Or I'll barely be your friend. It's more like you're living with an acquaintance, I guess. The tea party, which had lasted for a surprisingly long time, ended when Sojiro rose from his seat. He left them regretfully, but couldn't afford to be late for work. We rarely talked for more than 2 hours. Even you were exceptionally talkative, Alice. I was merely following the course of the conversation. Shizuki asked you a lot of questions that you then addressed to me. I mean, really, there's no point in asking about our days. It was very informative, actually. It was very useful to me. Really? Notwithstanding Aoko's surprise, Sojiro brought something from the corridor. Oh god, is it the whiteboard? Yes! It was a large whiteboard, like the one occupying the student council room. The following lines were written on this brand new whiteboard in felt pen. Task allocation in the future. Mansion housekeeping limited to the east ground floor. Preparation of breakfast, preparation of dinner, cleaning of the bathrooms. So, chores. You're writing chores on a whiteboard. So you were only asking us all those questions from earlier, only for that purpose? Yes. First, I had to determine what was wrong so I could eradicate neglect. From our discussion, I was able to conclude that you both have at least 1 hour of free time in the day. Since there are 3 of us using the kitchen, we might as well set up a rotating system. We need to work together where we can. This is a reform, Sojiro added, sticking out his chest. Wait a minute, I'm just allowing you to live here. I told you I had no intention of cooperating with you, didn't I? Indeed, you said so, but since you always ask me to cook for you when I'm preparing dinner for myself, I think that mutual help is the least that could be done. What's more, if we combine our food budgets, we'll be able to prepare delicious meals. What? So Alice is kind of like Saber. She's like, did you just say delicious meals? To Alice, who had asked Sojiro to prepare a meal for her on many occasions, what he just said was some kind of divine punishment. She felt like he could have asked her to atone for her sins instead. But it wasn't worth preparing a whiteboard just for that, was it? Up until now, we've always verbally agreed on how we would organize ourselves. Alice agreed. Nothing was set in stone with this kind of verbal agreement. Neither of them dared to admit it, but they clearly intended to skip their turn as soon as they had the opportunity. Slackers. No way, to live an honest life we must understand what our tasks are, and by writing everything on the board we won't forget anything. You understand? Aoko grimaced in the face of his radiant smile. She could not tell whether he was trying this out of kindness, or if he was sending a clear message that he would no longer let them fail in their duties. Impressive. He wants us to choose our respective tasks in order to clarify who is responsible for what. Alice, remaining true to form, was shivering at the organization of tasks that might become part of her daily life. Oh no. Responsibilities. It's decided. We'll go more into details about the task allocation tomorrow. I know you're busy right now, so I'll do most of the work in the meantime. Well then, Sojiro said before leaving. The 2 inconsolable girls remained in place, eyes fixed on the brand new whiteboard. Let's destroy it. Let's burn it. It's as if we were bitten by our domestic dog. He's very impudent. I knew it. I knew he was this type of person. It was too late to notice that they had fallen right into his trap. After all, Sojiro had prepared a salad that he shared with Aoko during breakfast. She had already taken too much advantage of his generosity to claim that she did not need it now. In addition, the rolling system was perfectly suited to Aoko's temper. She would have liked the idea of being able to cheat on the amount of work she had to do from time to time, however. Aoko, I can tell what you're thinking just by looking at you. Right, we're probably thinking about the same thing after all. Aoko seized the board, letting out a sigh. Belonging to everyone, she visibly intended to lean this item against the kitchen wall. Alice ogled the whiteboard. I hope he won't add any more categories at least. Don't jinx it, he'll do it. She added with an ominous expression. So that's what that was about. Oh man, there's been even more added. What's this one? All about ploy. Oh, this was when they were talking about the ploys. Okay, well maybe that'll be next. We'll do that one next time. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And until next time, I will see you all later.